Walking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times we go deep, but not really today, because today we're here to react to House of the Dragon's 6th episode, our little post-watch live stream reaction to this episode, which is available right here, right now. And we're going to share our chat screen with you so that you can participate in this episode as well, making you guys the feature of this episode. Oh, look at that. It's Sharon. She says, hello. And that's right. Yes, you can. Yeah, I haven't done this in a while. So even though we've done, what is it? This is the 6th one. So we've done 5 of these live streams after watching this episode of House of the Dragon. And I haven't mentioned that, yes, you can tip us on stream, and your tip will show up in this episode, in this little chat window, and we will thank you for it live on air. If you head over to our YouTube channel, that's youtube.com/squawkingdead. We want to know, we don't care. Listen, I'm going to speak for everybody here on our hosts panel when I say we love this show. We love reacting to this show. This is a feelings over facts live stream. We mostly want to know what you think. So why don't you head over to our YouTube channel, head over to this video, interact with us in the chat, and let us know what you thought of this episode. What blew your mind? And there were quite a few things, I think. Even though, well, let's go around the room. Let's start with Sharon D. And I want to know what you thought of this episode, Sharon D. No? Oh, there she is.
I feel like it was sorry, people, it's raining at my house. It's thunderstorming. My connection is going to be in and out.
Easily distracted.
I thought it was a good setup because things are going to be coming up soon. I really enjoyed the close-ups of Sea Smoke, like the really good look we got at Sea Smoke up close. Like, that is a really beautiful dragon.
Yeah,
just his milky white and his eyes and everything. He is a really pretty dragon.
When you think of what a dragon on the Game of Thrones universe, I actually think of Sea Smoke. His horns are all wavy.
And he's just so pretty. I mean, he's just Sea Smoke is a he. I think he is so pretty. Like, he's just. I just thought he was beautiful to look at.
He's got a subtle beauty to him.
I'm really over the Daemon dreams, but on the plus side, we did get to see Viserys again.
Yeah.
And I always loved that because that was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed seeing Viserys. And it's just like seeing Rhaenyra last week. You know, like we have to put up with these dumb dreams, but we still got to see young Rhaenyra again, and we get to see Viserys again. So I'm okay with that.
Can we hang on here before I get Bridget's impression? I love this. And doing the review, because again, I want to mention that we do have an editor, and we could use your support to help pay for that editor. But as I was reviewing the last episode that we did, the breakdown for last week's 2X05 Regent, could not get enough of you guys talking about, I wish these dreams, they've got to end. I felt like in this episode, we got a little bit more resolution to these dreams. Like, for all it was almost like a therapy set, like a cognitive behavioral therapy session where he had to go through all his stuff. And so maybe I wasn't wrong. Maybe he needs to go through something to make it to the other side and find an anchor to support Rhaenyra. What is it about? He needs to get rid of his dreams. And finally, heavy is the crown is a weight. It's not it's a burden,
not a burden. Not a privilege.
Think of what Rhaenyra is going through right now. And then he gets to see Viserys and be there for him like he wasn't there for him before. And I got a little, I don't know.
Did you guys get a little emotional? I got a little emotional there, yeah, because number one, I cannot remember the actor's name, and I hate it that I can't.
Oscar-winning performances.
Patty, what is his name, Dave?
Patty.
Yes, I can't. Patty something. Okay. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. He's I just love seeing him again. Like, that was fantastic. And I feel like what is going on with Daemon is he's having to relive moments with the people whose love he wanted the most. Rhaenyra, his mother, Viserys. And he hasn't been able to make it up to Rhaenyra yet. He cut her head off when he saw her in the dream. And
He's driven.
He can't make it up to his mother because she's dead. But in this one, he managed to make it up to Viserys in his dream, and I feel like that he was crying. He was crying at the end of it.
After the dream, isn't that
right?
When you dream, sometimes when you dream about something so incredibly emotional, I've woken up crying, and it's upset me so hard, and I felt that. in Daemon. I mean, as much as maybe Bridget, because I like to go back to you, much as Bridget doesn't want to feel that, did you feel anything in that regard at all? Because I know you hate Daemon so much. You hate Daemon.
I'm sorry. I gotta get like.
I'm not falling for this S right now.
No. I gotta get back on the episode. You know, I got such a temper. It's the red hair, I guess. But the HBO Max app has gaslit me so hard tonight. I'm still pissed. Like, I can't.
Why don't you explain to everybody here, because this is a feelings over facts live stream, so it's not just limited to just the actual episode. What happened tonight?
So I was like, let me go start the episode not early, but let me go turn on HBO Live, because Dave was like, don't watch the video on demand, watch the live, because if you watch the video on demand, maybe you'll be behind, because there's like an ad block at the beginning. It's like a 3 ad block at the beginning. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to listen to Dave for once. I'm going to try to listen to Dave. And so I go in and I'm scrolling through the app for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, I cannot. This video on demand does not exist.
Oh, so it didn't even show up.
Like, no. I'm sorry.
Episode.
It didn't show up because it was.
You mean the live version of the?
It was 5 minutes
HBO.
early, but the live isn't an option. Mm-hmm. And the live is an option if you would like to watch CNN, which I do not, or if you would like to watch sports, which I also do not. So I was getting really pissed because I was like, "What's happening?"
CNN, which I do not.
I do not.
I don't want sports. I don't want that. I want dragons.
I just want dragons.
I
just want dragons.
Oh.
So then I got really pissed, and then I was like, okay, fine. I watched the episode on demand. It was fine, right? It came up. I watched the episode. Great.
Many of you may be wondering, though, I deliberately covered up my chest because I have a little surprise for everybody, not just my fellow host. It is a surprise for my hosts, but I took the liberty of making a white version of our
I literally saw it.
Oh, nice.
I saw it before we started,
the dragon
so you didn't hide it enough.
Dragon.
In fact, I have a photo of that somewhere. I will bring it up. But Bridget, why don't you continue? So what ended up happening, though, really?
Okay, so that's fine. But then I get on to Riverside to do this episode. And then Sharondy's like, I can't hear you. Plus, Riverside did the thing where it was like, your camera and mic are already active, which they're not, because I closed out the entire browser. So how is it active? But okay, we'll play this game again. And so then I got mad about that. And then we showed the Squawk of the Dragon ad, the picture, and I was like, I hate this picture so much. I hate look at Dave. Look at Dave. I hate this photo right here. So it's just like I'm revved up, you know? I'm just revved up.
You're like a little amped up.
I'm a little revved up.
Dave, I'm going to Photoshop that shirt on a boat that has Rhaenyra's groceries on it. Right?
Of me? On the banner?
No, I'm going to Photoshop just the
picture.
Oh, the
logo.
I'll give you a quality photo of that.
Yeah, do that.
And so in announcing this t-shirt, this version of the t-shirt, I will make it available in our merch store along with stickers, mugs, all sorts of things. I just wanted to show you guys a preview on my body, and then subsequently immediately go back to the chat share so that we
what
can
is this
get rid
modeling photo you took? Anyway.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway.
My career is over. Sorry. So you had trouble with Riverside. You had trouble getting to the video. Were you able to watch the full version of the episode?
Just peeved the whole time. Yeah, I did. Okay.
The little redheaded temper is over.
We'll see.
Okay, Bridget. I'm so sorry. I'll just apologize in advance.
It takes like, once I'm like set off, it's like every little thing reminds me of like, oh yeah, that's right, you were mad.
Every little thing she does is madness. Everything she does.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Speaking of, when she slaps what's his name? Bolsonaro?
Celtigar.
Celtigar.
Bartimus Celtigar.
Bartimus, that was the B, right? So how did you guys feel about that?
I was like, yeah.
As satisfying as that was, did you also feel like
well, see, the thing is, she had to put her foot down, man. They have not been listening to her. I could see it coming because he was just talking, mansplaining to her as she was, and you could see her getting more and more and more annoyed. So when she turned around and slapped him, I was like, yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
Read the room, buddy.
You know what though? I felt it was very satisfying. But then you get that right, see that Bridget face right now, that immediate afterwards.
I don't agree with it because she said, she was like, it's my fault that you do not fear me. And I was like, that's not the kind of ruler you want to be. That's not the kind of ruler you want.
But she's not trying to, she's trying to be nice, but they're not listening. And so when they're not listening, sometimes you have to make them see. Like she didn't.
Sometimes you gotta make them listen.
I mean, she didn't throw him off the top of a tower or imprison him. She just slapped him a little bit, you know.
But much like me,
wake up, dude.
Much like me, she's still pissed about it. Like hours later. So.
But she does think better of it. It looks like she has.
Well, she's like, he's lucky I didn't have his tongue.
Yeah. Well,
but
she's
then still mad. You know,
she does the thing.
Give a girl time to cool down.
She picks up the sword before she's like, this feels okay.
No. See, when I don't cool down, you guys are like, wow, what a B. She doesn't cool down, and everyone's like, yeah.
I did not. I was with you.
I don't like this at all.
I was with you, Bridget. I'm like,
I don't like this at all.
Satisfying, and then I kind of immediately listen. I'm gonna just say this out loud. I'm incredibly for seasons upon seasons of being Daenerys' corner. That last season was a lot.
Well, that last season turned everyone.
I am still traumatized by the snow that wasn't snow falling on King's Landing, and the little girl who was turned into a pillar of ash.
Girl lost her temper. Give her some wine. Give her some good D. Give her some sleep, and she'll be all right. But no, you gotta go stab her and kill her before you let her cool down a little bit.
Well, it's you know what it is.
I want whiskey and to just not be touched.
Let me just put it this. I'll put it this way. Yes, I'm traumatized by Game of Thrones and Dany going nutsy. But I did see even when Mysaria says it suits you, the sword, and she goes, "Oh gosh, no recoil." It's like she was giving her is it reverse psychology?
No.
Right?
When she said that looks good on you, that is not what she was referring to, my dear.
Oh, please enlighten me. I'm actually me. The sword
looks good on you. What happened later? Come on, put it together.
Okay, all right. Okay. I wanted you to spell it out. I didn't think you were quite referring to that, but then you did, and then that happened, and I'm not mad at it.
That looks good on you. Strap it on, babe.
Oh, wow.
Well,
okay. She really went
like
there.
A sword.
Yeah. I was just like, let's not mix business and pleasure.
Let's not mix the boys with
so
let's not do that. I think you might live to regret this one. I don't know.
I don't know where I thought she was going.
I never got the feeling that there was something between them.
No.
Until this episode. And the minute she walked out, when Rhaenyra was standing out on the turret looking at the dragon or whatever, and Mysaria walked out and put her hand down next to hers, I was like, oh man, they're not going to do that. But that is exactly what they did. I saw it coming. As soon as she walked out there.
No,
but
like
I said, this was the first. No, I don't care. It's like, okay, I mean, sure, get yourself some, Rhaenyra. You've had a bunch of. Well, I mean, you had an okay baby daddy, right? Because Harwin Strong was cool.
Yeah.
And then you had.
I thought
Daemon.
He wasn't really interested in her though.
No, he was her Kingsguard. So like technically they weren't allowed to be together.
Replacement
so he couldn't
Kriston.
He couldn't she couldn't like acknowledge him, and he couldn't acknowledge the children in any way, but he was very loving towards them and very loving towards her.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
I thought that he played for the other team.
No, that was her actual husband, Laner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Was in my mind this episode too.
Well, because I'm gonna tell you, Adam looks a whole lot like the actor that played Laner. Like they are very resemble each other.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw Sea Smoke, I was like, that's who they're going to get to take Laner's dragon, because he looks just like him and he's got his bloodline. Right. So I knew that they were going to do that, but I mean, I like the whole episode. Really, I really loved the close-ups of the dragon. That's just in my head because that was just beautiful.
Yeah,
no, the CGI is top notch.
That's what this live stream is about. It's about reacting. It's about saying, I can't get it out of my head. I really can't get Viserys out of my head. I was really happy to see him, and I'm sure
Paddy Considine. 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 Considine.
Oh yeah, I never gave you a real reaction to that. I liked it.
Yeah.
But Bridget, I feel like you've missed out on a whole lot of Viserys because you only watched like the first episode and the last episode.
The first episode and the last episode.
That's caught up. I guess you've not had time.
No, I didn't want to. I was like,
she'll never watch it.
So I'll never watch it now.
It's like Charity and
it's like Fear the Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead. Yeah, 1 through 3.
I never would have watched the first episode if I hadn't done it accidentally. So there's that.
You're so mad too.
You're not gonna have the.
Oh, okay.
You're not gonna have the.
We'll work on it. Mandel, Kevin, Eric.
I'm literally trying. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
What?
Wait, hold on. Let me just post the picture of. Just gonna post this picture again.
I don't mind the comment, but I mind that he totally threw me off my speech.
You can eat my dick. Okay, bye. Thank you.
To each their own. It's fair. Yeah. It's fair in my regard, so it's fine.
I am very, very tired of the Daemon dreams, but I did like that we got more of Alice. And I like that Simon Strong actually said her name so that we know she exists in this world as an actual person. But he did give her such a weird look in the last episode. Like, maybe she's shape-shifting or something. Or, like I said, maybe she's really old. She's supposed to be like 400 years old. So maybe Sir Simon sees her as an old crone or something, and Daemon sees her as this young, beautiful owl tamer.
Yeah, maybe.
And also, may I also remind you that when little Jaehaerys Targaryen was being carted away on the cart, and shroud. You could see the owl was on his shroud. So I think it's fitting that Daemon is dealing with the owl lady, where owl was on Jaehaerys's.
Well, and like I said, it seems maybe as though that the children of the forest do appear differently to different people, or they appear in the manner of which they want to be.
They're like a boggart. They're different for everybody.
Yeah, except Oh, right. Because some people will see one thing, and then some people see another. Yeah, because
remember Neville saw Snape. Remember?
Right.
It's what you fear the most, and he saw Snape.
But it's all at once too. It's like you said, Sir Simon may see one thing, and Daemon Targaryen will see another thing, and he'll look like, what is this person doing here? Who it looks completely different to him. Or I mean, the thought occurred to me that he's like, how in the last episode, how are you even here if you were just somewhere else a second ago? Meaning, we were just in this other place with the Tullys. How are you even in this castle? He's like, Harrenhal makes me crazy. Anyway, Daemon, what's up? I just got a raven from somewhere.
They're in danger, man. Daemon thinks they're bewitching him and stuff. Like, if Alice isn't careful, she's going to get all of the Strongs wiped out in the castle.
Maybe that's what you want.
Well, do you okay, this is the real question I want to ask both of you, because you had made such a stink about this, which I really do not blame you about. Please may these dreams be over. One, do you think that they might be now that there's this emotional resolution with Viserys? And were you thankful for it?
God, I hope so. But
I mean, I at least this one went somewhere. Like, it wasn't just wild, crazy, make no sense dreams. This actually went somewhere and led to some kind of catharsis, right? I mean, I think we can agree that.
Yeah.
Do I think Damon is going to suddenly be a different person? No.
Really?
No,
okay.
I mean,
I don't think so.
I think he may change a little bit. Like,
do you think he might soften a bit?
I think he's not going to be so hasty, right? Like, because Alice was like, just wait 3 days, the winds will change, and so he waited 3 days, and things went his way.
Basically,
so
killed the old
maybe not.
Yes, she did.
Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe he just won't be so. He'll back off just a little.
Maybe. I was curious. Do you all think that Simon Strong knew that Alice had, at the very least, allowed the death of this
Tully?
guy? Yeah.
Of the elder
because
Tully?
when he says to Damon, like, Alice went and she tried to no prevail or whatever, he makes like a face as he walks away.
I thought
I don't know.
she
It made me think like
maybe
he knew.
I think he knew because he knows, as he made clear, he knows Alice Rivers and knows who she is. So I think he definitely knew that was what she was going to do. So, yeah.
He's going to reply.
What's the point?
Why? Just leave it.
Yeah.
As far as Simon goes, I don't know. I kind of look at his kids and I look at him, and they're not dull. Okay, the kids are definitely dullards. The younger Strongs. Mm-hmm. sit. And then I look at Sir Simon, and I'm thinking he knows enough to be compliant. He may not be as sharp as any of the people that were interested in the show are practically. So I don't know. I think he sees a version of Alice, like you said, Sharon. He sees a version of Alice that he's familiar with, and it wouldn't enter in his mind that she would do such a thing. It wouldn't even come close. She's always been so helpful, probably, to the house, the Harrenhal, and to the Strongs. She's been now, and maybe he sees an old lady, a helpful old biddy. So the version that we see with Damon is probably a completely different version than what he sees.
It's a really weird face that he makes afterwards.
There's
something there. I don't know what it means, but there's something there.
You got me on high alert, baby. Especially, okay, I did not catch that she disappears behind him in the last episode. And then you made me look, and I showed a slowed down version of that, of her disappearing behind Sir Simon Strong. Like, what is happening here? I don't even know how you caught that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so quick and so subtle that it's easily missable. But I even put text. I'm like, then she disappears in a puff of smoke, but she didn't. She just disappeared behind him. So yeah.
I mean, R.I.P. Sir Stefan. That was a brave move. I think he screwed up when he's like, I did it. Like, no, you shouldn't have said that. But
that's the second he said that, I'm like, come on. Oh, damn. Yeah. And you know what adds, and this is what I was saying in the last episode, which did not make the cut, by the way, about Ulf actually getting the dragon and Hugh the Hammer not getting the dragon to be typical Game of Thrones, is that this is typical Game of Thrones. Like, after Stefan Darkland loses a bunch of his Darkland house in the Red Dragon and the Gold, the 4th episode, then his bannermen are dragon fodder at Rook's Rest. Then, and his lord is executed earlier on in that episode. Then he tries to mount this dragon, and then he's completely burned to ash, undoubtedly. It's just sad all around. And I get it. I get Rhaenyra being really upset about that. And he was the guy, by the way, that took her to the Septa.
Yeah, well, he was her Kingsguard. He was her Queensguard.
You have to look at it from his perspective, though, too, Dave. Like, this was the highest honor that he could have ever received. No one else in the history of what we know of this world has ever been asked to take a dragon that wasn't a Targaryen.
Promised to them, yeah.
You know what
exactly.
I mean? So that's like a really, really, really big deal. I think it was worth the 50-50 shot. Yeah.
Well, even in that, it really doesn't. I don't think it matters so much with blood, because even Bela has tried to claim a dragon, and she almost was killed, and she is pure, pure Targaryen Valarian. So, it doesn't it's not so much the idea that it was Stefan's blood wasn't enough. It's just that he wasn't right for that dragon, and the dragon was like, nah, I'm not interested. And just like Vhagar could have done the same to Aemond when he tried. Like, he took the chance. She could have fried him right there, and he took the chance, and she, I guess,
said, I see something.
Yeah, she said, I see something, so she allowed him. So it's not necessarily that Stefan didn't have the correct amount of Targaryen blood. It's
so. Do you think Sea Smoke was like, I'm so tired of you guys. You try to give me these BS people and I don't want them. And he's like, I'm going to go find my own rider. And he just sniffs out a Targaryen.
So I feel like he's been circling them quite a bit, because there was a scene a few episodes ago where Adam was on the beach and he looked up and saw Sea Smoke circling. And Sea Smoke's been circling before. So I think maybe he already knew there was a Targaryen down there, or because technically that's Laenor's half brother, because it's Corlys's son and Laenor was his son. So
Sea Smoke comes back when Adam comes back.
Yes.
So there's like a weird coinciding thing going on.
I think he already has like some kind of connection to Adam. He already felt the connection with Adam, and so he went and seeked him. Is that the right word?
Sought him out.
Thank you. And sought him out.
I think it's interesting because so Adam and the other brother, I can't keep track. Alan. Okay, so Adam and Alan are having the conversation about how, the sea serpent they've lived in his shadow their entire lives, and his brother's like, get over it, dude. You're not gonna ever get this. And Adam's like, well, you would just have to grow out your hair, and everyone would know. Right. Everyone would recognize it, and you would be able to take that birthright and be the heir. And
you can see the little white hairs.
It could change both of our lives. That's why he shaves it, because he's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Because he's smart, and he knows that putting himself out there like that would put him and Adam in danger, because of claims to the Sharon. He says this all the time: claims for the throne, and you even exist.
They even said it in this episode. The people who want the throne are not suited for it. If you don't want the throne, you're probably better suited. And if he put himself out here like, I'm a Targaryen, he would not be considered as made for the throne. You know what I'm saying? Like they specifically said that in this episode. So I think
there's like a Jewish proverb about that, how when you seek honor, it's rarely gotten, but when you allow it to come to you, when you do good deeds and allow it to come to you, you can eagerly accept that sort of scenario. So, but I wanted to add something.
What were you going to say, Bridget?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, because I wasn't done with my thought at all.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So what I was trying to say was that
sorry.
That conversation happens, and then Adam's kind of left. Like he says, at least they would know that you are. No one will ever know that I am. This essentially affirms his birthright through this dragon. Like, just this happenstance that this dragon hunts him down to be his rider. And this affirms that he has Targaryen blood to some degree. So So that's kind of a big deal. I don't know. I just thought that was a really cool tie-in, because they had that conversation earlier. Clearly that was the reason.
Well, it's also be careful what you wish for, buddy, because he might just get it. But I wanted to hit on something about Sea Smoke. Laenor's dragon. Laenor belongs to Driftmark. Sea Smoke is sea. He's looking for someone that is suited to replace not a Targaryen, but to replace Laenor, to be the sea and salt that Bela says she is not. She says I'm fire and blood, bitch. And you're
Speaking
sea
of
and salt.
Bela, I see her going after the dragon that just appeared in the Vale, which I'm gonna
Rhaena,
guess,
you mean, right? Not Bela.
Rhaena, yeah.
Right, Rhaena. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
sisters.
guess. So there's
that sheep stealer? Because that's all I could think
well,
about.
It might be. There's 3 wild dragons. There's
Right.
Cannibal,
right,
Sheep Stealer, and Grey Ghost.
I want it to be
And
sheep stealer
I'm pretty sure that one's gonna be Sheep Stealer. So in the in the books, I think somebody else rides Sheep Stealer, but I don't know if they're gonna bring that character in or not. So it may be a moot point. It may be Rhaena instead. I'm not sure.
As we've seen, everything is wrong in the books. Not everything, but most things.
Well, because it's unreliable perspectives.
Exactly. He or she who wins the war gets to do the things. So speaking of dragons, do you know how there are signs in front of people's yards about in this house we blah blah blah, or a flag of this or that?
Mm-hmm.
I walked around my neighbor. Actually, Evelyn told me about this first, and I did not believe what she said. And she said there was a flag in our neighborhood. Well, let me just show you. It is the Blacks Targaryen red on black background flag in my neighborhood.
I support this flag.
Team Black.
Flag. Yep.
Now I don't think you can see the address, but don't focus on it a little. It's fine. You don't know the street name. That's fine. But I just thought that was. I didn't believe her at first. And then I saw it for myself, and then I said, "You know what we have to do? We have to take a picture of this and show it tonight."
Who could be Team Green, for real?
You know what? I can see
just
in this world.
They're just the worst.
I am
just the worst.
All right, let's switch back to the chat. Which, by the way, you can join us and tell us your feelings and thoughts at youtube.com.
Although there's some
literally
thoughts,
say whatever you want. Clearly,
right?
Yeah,
and there's some thoughts you should keep to yourself.
Yeah. Do you think we should?
I hope you're happy with your life. You know.
Do you think we should lose weight, fat asses? I'm talking.
I mean, I am actively trying, but
so is Sharon D. She works out. I'm not doing anything
with a shot that is horrible and makes me throw up a lot. So, just saying, I'm really giving it the old college try, and yeah,
I can't believe you're actually talking about this.
Oh, dude, I've been told that my entire life. So, like, welcome to the club.
I have family members that tell me. Yeah, that's crazy. But if you think we should not worry about that, you should tell us in the chat right now. We're 33 minutes in. We may go another 30. We'll see. And we could talk about things, not just our weight. We can talk about this actual episode, by the way. There are definitely a whole plethora of things that we did not talk about in this episode, namely which, not only did we do whispers, and I don't know if you noticed, but I invoked the name of our lovely brothel madam, and lo and behold, she helps with Diana at the bar with Ulf to spread some of these little things. Like this fish stew is a little thin. Well, if Rhaenyra was here, she would solve all these problems. And then lo and behold, the package comes in. But I like that it was the brothel madam, because I saw a little of that in her interaction with Aemond. The royals.
Well, I'm sure after Aemond just totally ditched her after Aegon was there. Yeah. Which, I mean, she's a whore, so she's used to men just walking down on her. But I feel like she had a different relationship with Aemond.
Yeah,
and like maybe that hurt her just a little bit when he just got up and walked out on her like that.
I felt it was very interesting now that we're seeing her like more.
Well, with her clothes
how
on
much she looks like Alicent. You guys were right. Like, she really does look like Alicent. It was
an older version, sure.
They really tried to find an actress that just resembled her.
Just another way that Daemon and Aemond are the same person, because they're both want to bang their moms.
I really liked that interaction with Ulf. And
does that change your mind in any way?
Oh no, dude, Hugh the Hammer for life. But
Ulf's my guy. I'm really digging Ulf.
I do like Ulf.
Although, I mean, here's Hugh out there knocking people down the streets and taking their food, which I get.
Okay, I did not like that.
You got a family to feed, but like you just took food from somebody else's family, which is what you and your wife were just saying that you would never do.
Yes,
and also he's us in the zombie apocalypse, literally.
But
they were porch pirating Westeros Instacart.
Here's the thing, though. It was the right choice because he knew, like, with that many people running through the roads, there was no way that they were going to be able to go. He wasn't going to be able to make it all the way to the shoreline
and he was late
back
on the take.
With whatever it was. There was no chance. So, you know, he's got to worry about his family. Honestly, I respect that. I know it's messed up because you just cold cocked some random guy, but I don't know that guy. I don't know that guy. I know Hugh.
You know, all I can say for now is that Ulf would never dare do anything
okay,
like that.
Ulf would do that like 10 times over.
Ulf
Get out of
is
here.
A saint.
No, Ulf would do that so much worse.
We didn't see it. We didn't see a body. So.
Ulf wouldn't have punched him. He would have kicked him in the balls.
Ulf would have been like, my dad is Balon Targaryen, hand it over.
And that would be fine. If he did hand it over, he'd be like, okay, we've come to an agreement. I threatened you. You gave me stuff. I didn't cold cock you in the face.
See, I have all this excitement that like Ulf or Hugh will get to ride a dragon and like watch nobody else is going to. Like that was it.
I'm okay with that. I just think there's a bigger role for these characters
Just covering your face again. I don't like this. I don't like it.
Well, remember, Bridget, I'll say it for Sharondy, there's two other dragons. There's Vermithor and Silverwing. So, you know, then we have Ulf and Hugh.
Vermithor. Yeah.
And you said something about Vermax, too? Vermax was somebody's dragon or nobody's dragon, Sharondy?
That's a real estate company.
That's Remax. But Vermax is the real estate company in Westeros.
I've heard it both ways, Dave. Heard it both ways.
Oh boy, I love it.
I'm trying to think if there's another dragon because I think.
Well, does 1-1 still exist, or is that some other time?
1-1.
Remember you mentioned 1-1.
1-1 is a giant.
Oh, it's a giant, not a dragon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because he was named after one of the New York Giants.
Yeah, Phil Simms, number 11. I'm a New Yorker, so it works.
Then why'd you think it was a dragon, Dave?
I thought it was a dragon, bitch. I don't know. That would be kind of cool. He was called 1-1 because he killed another dragon 1-on-1. Anyway.
No.
Vermax is Jace's.
Jacaerys. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Vermithor and Silverwing are still in the pit, the dragon's pit. What else? Okay, so we talked about the brothel madam and how she looks a lot like Alicent, and she's kind of a hero in this episode. But Alicent does have a little bit of a moment with both Aegon and Aemond, and for all of Aemond's wanting his mother's love, and Alicent kind of in response to his moves this episode, she tries her hardest to do not slap another one of her council in the face like Rhaenyra did. She puts her hand on Aemon's face and go, what of in her own way, what of temperance? You've got to this can't be a pissing contest. The people have to love you.
Have the injustices of your childhood not been avenged enough?
Right. She tries.
She's interested to know
that
my feelings about that Vermithor is
ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. But it wasn't gonna be it.
I know,
what I was gonna say was my feelings on Alicent changed a little bit this episode.
Okay. It wasn't that moment, right? It was with Aegon.
Actually, it's the moment with her brother.
Okay.
Gwaine? That can't be a real name.
Gwayne.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
I changed my mind. Hate it.
Somehow that's more redneck than a redneck name, Wayne.
Well,
Gwayne.
Gwayne. Yeah. So.
Get it? Because he's green, and then Wayne is his real name.
Anyway. It was that moment because she asks is it me that's the reason that my sons are like this? And upon further reflection on my end, because initially, knee jerk, I'm like, yeah, you're the worst. Because she's still not great. I don't love her. But
challenge the spirit of Rachel too. I mean, she's a prince. She's a queen. She had people doting on herself.
Upon further reflection, I would say it would be really hard to raise a kid at court who really still knew themselves and like who they really were, let alone add into the mix that they're royal. Come on, dude. You're just asking for a messed up kid. Like, and they're going to have everybody around them is going to be kissing their butts 100% of the time.
Well, isn't this what I say all the time about like celebrities and sports stars and stuff, that they're allowed to do what they want because they're stars and they bring in money?
I think she's also realizing she's also taking responsibility too. I think part of her is taking a little bit of responsibility, or she's trying to take some responsibility for her part.
I can also say that Viserys didn't take a big part, and he was always pro Rhaenyra, and that is again, Bridget, you didn't watch all of the first season, but they showed pretty plainly that Viserys didn't really take a hand with those kids. Like he was like, right. So it was all kind of put on Alicent to do. And I mean, she didn't know what to do either.
And she was young.
Well, she just didn't know. Her mother had died, so she didn't really have any guidance or anything. And what is she going to tell Viserys? And like, she's a little kid. She's a child bride. What is she going to tell this old man to do,
Yeah.
So, I mean, Alicent had it, like, she's not entirely to blame. A lot of the blame falls on Otto and Viserys for not doing anything with those kids too. Like, he just totally pretty much ignored them. Even when there was a big blow up between them, which was where Aemon lost his eye, Viserys still didn't do anything about it. He was like,
sorry, you're right, Aemon.
Yeah, Viserys was like, they're just kids, don't worry about it, no big deal, Also, I want to say that, remember, Dave, in that episode when Alicent slashed Rhaenyra's arm, because she was mad because Luke had taken out Aemon's eye, and she was like, is there not going to be any justice or anything like that? And she slashed Rhaenyra's arm. It's the same place that she slashed her arm in this episode.
Yeah. Well, that's why I also brought up the, where what is she? When Rhaenyra
Artemis Celtigar.
Right. And Alicent puts her hand on Aemon's face. Aemon gently takes it off his face and basically throws it back in hers and says, well, now you can dedicate your life to more, was it motherly or domestic duties?
Domestic. And I know for a fact he knows that his mom is banging Kristen Cole. He 100% knows. That was what that jab was about. I mean, they're not very secretive about it. I mean, she's always looking at him.
Her brother knows too.
Right. Like, they're being very careless. They're being very careless with their affair.
Do you think that ship has sailed now with between Alicent and Kristen? Even though she does sort of with a nod wish him well, carefully.
I'm pretty sure as soon as he comes back whole, she's going to be banging him again. I mean,
it's been quite a few episodes, so we don't really know that they have been. Not that I care. Not that I care. I agree with you. Not that I care too much.
I'm just saying they need to be just kind of like Rhaenyra and Mysaria need to be a little more on the down low.
Yeah.
I love how he comes in and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, yeah, you caught him.
I saw it coming. I'm not really disappointed in it, but I feel like it's not really a necessary addition to the story. Like, why couldn't they just be friends? Like, I have nothing against it. Whatever. I just feel like it wasn't a necessary addition to this. I feel like they were better off as she was her advisor, and now it's going to get all complicated.
I feel like it's going to bite her in the butt. That's my concern.
Yeah.
Or may I refer you to a thought that I had, maybe it was 2 episodes ago, and that was, now, Sharon, put the paper on your face. It's fine. Start from now. I asked, do you think that Rhaenyra is going to make it to the end of this episode? And everybody else, Sharon D didn't do us the service of saying no, but everybody else said, yeah, I guess it's entirely possible that she won't, and that's the Game of Thrones way. Robb Stark was the king of the North, and he never made it, and he was utterly disgraced. Now,
did you say the end of this episode, or did you mean the end of this?
I meant the end
He
of the
meant
season.
You said the end of this
episode.
Yeah.
I was like, well, she did make it to the end of this episode.
So here's the thing.
You wanted me to hide my face for that?
Well, because there's an addition to this. Because though it may look complicated, Mysaria and she having this intimate moment between them, Daemon actually does have love for Rhaenyra. It may look weird, and he may have some resentment towards her because of the thing that he was promised. Jace loves her very much. He does. As much as he gives her S, they do find kinship in these moments sometimes when they're strategizing, and he does.
I'm rolling my eyes that he was promised. He wasn't promised anything. So
no, well, I mean, he felt like he was wronged or whatever it was. Listen, we know better, but either way, there is love there. Everybody, even Alicent, loves Rhaenyra. So, if Rhaenyra was to not make the end of the season, these people will fight hard for her honor and her name, despite that loss. They will not give up.
I would be inclined to think that that's not going to happen, but that instead, in terms of this storyline with Mysaria, that much like everyone else has shunned Mysaria, because that's a repeated theme in her story, I think that Rhaenyra will have to.
Instead of saying history, her story?
Oh, no, sorry. Dave. No.
My bad. Her story?
That's not what I was saying.
I'm so sorry.
Dave. I hate you.
You must.
He just mansplained that to me.
Want to slap him?
All right.
I do.
Turn around and slap him and tell him to fear you.
I do.
There you go.
But I think what'll have to happen is Rhaenyra will have to let that fall to the wayside, either because, much like, if we're reflecting on how Daenerys's story went, is her advisor going to make a, unexpected suggestion that doesn't go well, or something to that effect. Or Daemon comes back and she's got to be with Daemon if they're like on the same team. You know what I mean? Like, he comes back and he's like, I'm sorry. She's got to go back to that. And they've had such a bond over this, like, Daemon only does what Daemon wants to do. And that's all he does. And he leaves everyone else in the lurch. And then she'll leave her to do that. And so I feel like that might be kind of where this story is going.
That's what I was thinking initially too. But going back to the Rhaenyra thing, if she doesn't make it this season, and Mysaria was with Daemon, I mean, at least in appearances. And remember, this is where I don't know if he was still with her when Viserys passed. No, I don't think No. They split up way before then, way before the time jump. But
that was when Rhaenyra was still young Rhaenyra. Sorry.
Yeah, stop it.
Sorry. It's when Rhaenyra was young Rhaenyra.
Yeah, exactly. So I could see them working together. I mean, I don't think she'll trust him very much, but I mean, she could wrangle him. I don't know.
Well, if Rhaenyra were to die, then Jace is the heir.
Right, the next heir.
And I think it would be interesting to see who would like jockey for position to be behind him. And he wouldn't have a super strong claim to the throne in the eyes of Daemon. Daemon would be like, nah, dog, it's all me.
This is like
he's already trying to claim kingship as it is. So he would be the first one to jump in place.
Yeah, and Sir Alfred has not made it.
However, Jace is not the only son that's left.
Right.
There's Jace, Joffrey, Aegon II, and Viserys.
Yep.
Right. We saw both of those kids in the Vale playing with the little dragons as Rhaena was like, there's a big dragon in the Vale. I wonder if I could take it.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Well, it's her last shot. So, like... If you're really that set on it, might as well try.
She's like, what's his name from 8
I don't know,
Mile?
Dave. Here's the thing. You could either
On
ride a
spaghetti.
dragon or you could be dead. Like,
seems
I
like
don't
that's
know
what
about
everybody
you.
says.
I don't know
Everybody
about you,
says
but I'd go with ride a dragon, in my opinion.
ride or die, right?
So in the episode where Aemond loses his eye, and there's the big blow up, because it's after he takes Vhagar.
Mm-hmm.
He takes Vhagar, and when he comes back, Jace and Luke are standing up for Bela, because Vhagar was supposed to be Bela's after her mother died.
Right.
So they were fighting. Not Bela, Rhaena. Anyway, so they were trying to stand up for the girls, and they got into a big fight with Aemond, and Luke stabbed him in the eye.
I did see part of that.
Yeah,
I did see part of that. Did they flash back to that in that last?
Yeah, they must have.
I think you might have watched. I think you might have watched that episode with us.
That. Yeah, maybe I watched more than that. Yeah,
maybe you should watch the rest of it.
No, so never will.
So when Aemond goes after the big blow up and everything, and Aemond tells his mom, he's like, "I may have lost an eye, but I gained a dragon."
Right.
So he understood that there was a sacrifice. I made the sacrifice and I got this dragon. And
it's sad that Helena, after seeing the people fawn over her when her son dies,
how quickly they turn.
And it's almost as if, like, I forgive you. There's a they're not all that cracked up they're cracked up to be, because she probably already saw that in her brain. Mm-hmm. And she was just kind of like, oh no, I don't like this. When they were actually fawning over her and mourning her loss, she was just like, no, I don't like it. I'm very unsettled by it. She's seeing actually the Sept. And
if those two soldiers hadn't stepped in when they got covered up by the crowd, they would have been torn to pieces, like no doubt in my mind.
I thought it was crazy that Alicent's like, sheathe your swords, because like that old man came out of nowhere. They just cut off his hand, which
that
is really
was wild.
That's
and that's
really
the only
what
reason
set
why
off
it went
the whole
crazy
thing in the first place.
Exactly.
But then she says, sheathe your swords, and then the guy is like, what's wrong with you? That's what. And I was like, and they're all just getting pummeled to death, and I was like, you did that.
Yeah.
You did that just then.
It's
by
a little
saying
late.
That.
It's a little late in the day, baby.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It reminded me of.
They're not going to look back on it and be like, "Well, she told them to sheathe their swords so they didn't kill us."
Mm-hmm.
We're so thankful. They're not.
It reminded me of in Game of Thrones when, they got attacked, Joffrey and Sansa, and the men had a hold of Sansa and were getting ready to spoil her.
Yeah.
And if it hadn't been for the Hound, but like it was the same thing. That is exactly what would have happened to Alicent and Helena.
Oof.
Yeah.
Which
again, it's the women and the innocent who suffer, because while Alicent may have been one of the people doing machinations behind the scene, ultimately she did that to protect her children. That is her whole thing through the whole series has been, I need to protect my kids, and if Rhaenyra's on the throne, they're a threat. Even if they don't try to be king, they're still a threat just because they exist.
Right. As a challenge to the throne.
That's her motivation is to protect her kids. So in that, generally she's innocent, right? I mean, yes, she did collude and all that, but I don't feel like she had much of a choice. It wasn't because she wanted power. She wanted to protect her kids, so she went along with it.
Yeah, in a weird way, Rhaenyra says out loud to Mysaria the thing I'd been saying about Alicent. Yes, it does go to what Daemon finally hears about what the realities of the crown are, but Rhaenyra says, yeah, it's a burden. I admired Daemon because he got to live carefree, go after his ambitions, as long as it didn't hurt anybody and brought too much shame to Viserys. It was fine. But
that wasn't just because she was going to be queen. That's also because she was a woman. Because Aegon was going to be... Well, even Viserys and Daemon were talking at one point about how they used to go up and down the street of Silk and and bang every woman they could. So as long as you were a man, you could do whatever you wanted to. It was because she was a woman, not because she was going to be queen.
But it didn't change her feelings about it, and that she said it out loud. And she says, I wished I, well, and she says, actually, I wished I could be a man. So let's tie that to Allison. It's what I've been saying all along. I mean, it's one person being jealous over another. Damon and Allison were both jealous of Rhaenyra for different reasons. One, because she had her father's love. Another, because she got everything for all the things that she felt like she had to do for Viserys, or the burden of being chosen heir to the throne. She got a lot of privileges from that. And there was like privilege envy. But I wonder if Allison understands that this is a burden. This is
Allison again. Well, it kind of is exactly what you're saying. Allison is jealous, thinking that Rhaenyra had all this freedom, and Rhaenyra's like, "But I didn't really. I mean, I had the freedom. I know that's what I was saying. I was agreeing with you. But she's like, I had the freedom to bang Sir Harwin Strong instead of my husband, and everybody went along with that. But that still didn't give me. I couldn't live with him as husband and wife, or publicly acknowledge that I loved this person, or like she still had to live with constraints. She couldn't just get on her dragon and go fly whenever she wanted to. I mean,
you never get
right.
We never, as women, get really what we want, while these men could at least blow off a little steam. Did somebody put something in our chat?
It was me, Dave.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, we're almost done, Bridget. No worries. Wait, that's on. You can edit this out of the full podcast, right? David. Okay, so no, I wanted to tie that to something else. Oh, the people in the streets. Damn. Oh, you wanted to say something, Sharon. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there was they're building a nice parallel between Alicent and Kristen and Rhaenyra and Mysaria. Like each one of them is getting something, but I feel like there's a difference in the dynamics between Kristen and Alicent. Like I feel like there's this like angry sex, right? Like it's an angry relationship. Like I don't think that they are in any way fond of each other or anything. I think it's just, I guess it would be like they're like Maggie and Negan. We got like a hate bang going on. Like it's an anger bang. It's an anger banging. But I feel like with Mysaria and Rhaenyra, there's actually some respect and at least a little bit of affection there. Maybe not love per se, but right.
Like you said.
Well, I wanted to point out the fact, and probably this is, I don't know, maybe we talked about it already, but it just became really, really obvious in this episode that, I was talking about how like the Greens don't respect the Smallfolk or even engage or listen to them at all. And the only person that did was surprisingly Aegon. But then then he wasn't even capable of following through on what he wanted, like what he had promised them. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that's out of his hands because like there's other stuff going on now, obviously. But Rhaenyra is so much like Daenerys because of the like Mysaria, Missandei like
connection.
Mm-hmm.
There's they don't only value the input of the Smallfolk, they turn to them to be their guidance. Advisors.
Mm-hmm.
And their goal is to free the oppressed. Like that's Rhaenyra's goal. It's right now it's her goal because it gets her what she wants. But still, that's better than most other rulers,
But it's always been her understanding that being the ruler means you protect the realm. Like that's always been
the Song of Ice and Fire.
Right. That's what she's always been taught from Viserys.
Well, that's what her father did.
Being a king means you protect the realm. It's not just about being the queen. It's not about having the power. It's about using that power to do good.
So how interesting that Daenerys ended up with that, although she didn't have that connection to her father. She's taken away as a baby, grows up in hiding, only has her crappy brother with her. Like how interesting that she still ended up on that same side of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, also named Viserys too.
I was gonna say what a contrast in Viserys is.
Yep.
Viserys.
Viserys is but it was even said in this episode by Ulf, if I'm not mistaken. He says something to the effect of, when the small folk starved, they did not have banquets, they did not live in excess. He tried to feel what they felt. It's impossible. Of course it's impossible, but their house, their keep would take less.
It wasn't to that degree. It was just like he wouldn't have allowed this to happen.
Well,
he ruled in a time of peace. There was none of this going on. So there's no way to say one way or the other how he would have handled a situation like this. But, it's the hindsight is 2020. We think fondly of the dead.
Glasses. You know what? Charity did mention this in the other episode. It's possible that we see things differently from a distance, like the 1920s.
I'm not saying he wasn't a good ruler, but it seemed like, based on everyone's account of him, he was just fair.
He's all right.
He wasn't like, he was fair. He was fair to his people. He was a fair ruler, but there was nothing else to him because you didn't see him in times of turmoil.
Yeah, or great stress, right? A great threat to the kingdom.
I mean, he's got his personal turmoil, but you don't see, it's not the whole kingdom is at stake.
Right. Yeah, you could have a little turmoil on the side, but not at the expense of the small folk, right? They never suffered because of it, which, you do see that in spades throughout these episodes. When they paraded those sheep through, I was like, dude, bad move. And who warned us of that? The brothel madam said.
Well, I thought maybe she was lying about it. So when they did roll those sheep on through, I was like, oh,
yep,
you're busted out.
The royals sneeze and the rest of the kingdom catches a cold, basically.
Well, and I love how they're like, you're feeding your dragon.
Yeah, screaming in the streets.
True. Probably true.
Well, I guess this is the end of this Feelings Over Facts live stream. It pains me to do so because we only had some troll in the chat expound on their beliefs rather than you. Yeah. So if these live streams catch your fancy and you've been watching these episodes live, stay up a little longer, hang out with us, tell us what you thought, tell us why we're wrong, but tell us while we're live. So when let's just say, take the moment to head on over to youtube.com/squawkingdead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, enable all notifications, know that we will be going live after every one of these episodes. We only have 2 more to go after this one, and I think you're going to want to show up for the season finale of House of the Dragon's 2nd season. So, and I know this will show up in the full audio podcast containing both this and the full episode breakdown, which we lovingly and painstakingly make available for you. And now, guess what? It mostly comes in at about an hour and a half with our feelings plus the breakdown for your amusement and engagement and your convenience. So, with that, everybody, I've been your host, David Cameo, and I was joined by Sharon D, aka Blazy Gardner, and Bridget, ko-fi.com/punkybrewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. We will see you in the full episode breakdown. And if you want to join us for that breakdown, head on over to either ko-fi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead, because it's the only place you'll be able to get our recording schedules. Follow us for free on either platform, Ko-fi or Patreon, and when you'll be able to join these recording sessions for free. We do not hide these recording sessions behind a paywall. Thank you for watching. If you've been here, I know you're there on Twitter. I see you watching on Twitter, and I feel you. I feel you wanting to join us. I know that you have it popped open in a window, in a separate window, while you're interneting and watching all the other takes.
Dude, people are on their phones. What are you talking about, Dave?
That's why I said that you can put it in a picture-in-picture and continue twittering.
Nobody's doing that.
That's what they're doing. I see them. I have a window where I'm watching every single one of you not participate in these live streams.
That's really weird, Dave. That's a weird thing to watch.
I'm a very versatile human being, also very hidden talents. We'll see. We'll see you. I will see you in the next one. I'm watching. Bye, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
Ruff.